We got them all. We got them freaking all. We got all the matches for the round of 16 here in the World Cup. I'm so excited, guys. And let me tell you, this is so freaking intense because we got some of them which are like pretty wow. We got some of them which are like meh, kind of, they're not really that exciting. But most importantly of all, we got one side which is really intense, one side which is absolutely wonderful. It's absolutely devastated. I mean, I'm telling you guys, the finalist of that side is gonna get to the final like all wretched up with like scars, bleeding, and like with a headache because it's absolutely insane. Whoa, what's going on, guys? Como están? BugaLuis here, and welcome back to another live reaction here on the channel. And today we're going to take a look at none other than England losing 1-0 to Belgium after a golazo from Andan Januzaj. I gotta say, it was absolutely amazing, that goal. I was really surprised because I have never seen Januzaj had that from a locker. Obviously, we know he's a young player with an amazing talent. But let me just act on that young player thing that I said, because I don't think he's really that young, to be honest. He was at Manchester United for a long time. Wow, he's still 23. So good job, Andan Januzaj. You got a great career ahead of you if you continue to score goal like that, because it was absolutely wonderful. However, the match overall was kind of boring. It was really thereabouts. It wasn't too exciting in defense. It wasn't too intense in attack. It wasn't also any kind of good, you know. It was kind of meh, decent there. And the same with Panama versus Tunisia. Panama Tunisia was even more entertaining, I think, than watching right now England versus Belgium, to be completely honest with you. But we got absolutely every single knockout round onto the World Cup, which is absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. So I'm gonna do probably that on a separate video. I'm actually gonna talk perhaps about tomorrow my predictions of the World Cup. We're gonna talk about every single of the teams out there. We're gonna talk about every single one of them, and we're gonna see how it goes. Basically, we're gonna talk about that. I think perhaps even after this video I'm gonna make it, but probably most importantly is that we're gonna what was I gonna say? Well, we're gonna predict that overall later, so stay tuned for that. My reaction on that is coming soon, but my god, this is absolutely intense. Talking about Belgium and England, I gotta say the first thing that we came here into the match and we saw a lot that really not perhaps surprised us a lot, but just was like, this match is gonna be kind of tedious. It was that we saw England and Belgium resting so many players. I gotta say, England and Belgium just knew exactly that they just needed to rest players, to be honest, because after all, both of the teams wanted to rest players for the round of 16 because they were already qualified. But the most important thing is that they wanted both to lose this game. Yeah, and I'm telling you this because let's talk about a little bit. On one side, the one who would go first here in Group G would go actually to the left side. And the left side, we got Uruguay versus Portugal, France versus Argentina, Brazil versus Mexico, Belgium versus Japan. That's hard. That's pretty hard, except for Japan, to be honest. Brazil, Mexico, France, Argentina, Uruguay, and Portugal. 6 teams of world-class stature. I'm telling you, you're gonna get to the final like all wrought up, and it's gonna be really tough. Yet on the other hand, on the right-hand side, we got Spain versus Russia, Sweden versus Switzerland, Croatia versus Denmark, and Colombia versus England. So you may say right away that's probably Croatia, Spain, Colombia, and Inglaterra are the best teams of that group, and we have other underdogs such as Russia, Denmark, Sweden, and Switzerland. So it's really surprising, to be honest. To be completely honest with you, one side is just insane. We're gonna get matches after matches of pure class. Like, those teams cannot really let anything go, because what happens if they lose now? If they lose, it's gonna be out. Like, they cannot rest players. The players has to be on point every single moment, every single time of the day, and every single match you have to be on point. They have to be doing incredible. That's why I'm really nervous about it. We got one side which is insane and the other one which is kind of meh. So the thing coming here is that obviously England and Belgium wanted to progress top of the group. Obviously they wanted to have that, but the thing is that inside you don't wanna win this game because you're gonna go to a hard side. For instance, now England are gonna face Colombia, which, to be honest, Colombia is not easy feat, because I see Colombia every single year in qualifiers and Copa America and stuff like that. Colombia are not an easy team. So England needs to be kind of into place, because what happens if Colombia beats England now? What happens if Colombia go through into the round of to quarterfinals? What happens? I mean, England could have at least gotten on to beat Japan and then go and face Brazil, which would be a little bit more interesting. But what happens if you go away against Colombia? Like, I'm telling you, you're still gonna face Colombia. Switzerland against Sweden, okay, you may face some difficult teams there, or not as big but complicated nonetheless. But when you go out to Spain, for instance, or Croatia, coming out of that other little half you have on that right hand side of the elimination table, then it's gonna get very, very tough for England as well. So it was really about which team wants it more, or which team wants it less. And I think that Belgium perhaps wants it less. And Belgium, which is probably the biggest team out of England and Belgium, because they have the bigger players, they go onto that side. So it's gonna be insanely good, this side. Like, we're gonna have Belgium, Brazil, France or Argentina, Uruguay or Portugal in that quarterfinals. We're gonna have perhaps a quarterfinal for Spain versus Croatia. It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be absolutely insane, and I love it. I love it. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So continue talking about this match. There's really not too much I can talk about. I gotta say that England, once again, they were very surprising by the way how they set up the team. We could see that Ruben Loftus-Cheek came back again into the side, and that was perhaps kind of like a hint that perhaps Dele Alli will start back again the game against Colombia, now that we already know their next rival. So in that sense, I think that Dele Alli is obviously someone they need to care about, because Dele Alli is going to be a player which in the long run, in the set pieces, which Colombia also take very good, I think it's going to be very, very clinical. And given his height, his little bit of physicality, and obviously his ability off the ball and a way to bring it down the ball, is going to be very, very influential in those type of situations. We saw Ruben Loftus-Cheek not being perhaps that same kind of player, but they obviously give him a little bit of an extra mile in the sense of creativity in the middle of the park that necessarily England doesn't have. And I think that really showed during this game. In some moments, England were really up the field, but never really because they started to string the passes for the wide areas. It was mostly for the midfield. So in that sense, we could see that Ruben Loftus-Cheek had a positive impact on this team, and that's something that I think Southgate needs to take into consideration if he's going to choose Dele Alli over Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Because if you take Dele Alli, then you are hoping that Henderson, you're hoping that Trippier, you're hoping that Ashley Young, or even Danny Rose now, does something else, because the creativity will no longer come for the midfield, because obviously we'll have Dele Alli and Lingard, which are kind of similar, not similar players, but players who don't focus too much on deep line playmaking skills, but rather to finishing those chances. And in that sense, I think that Ruben Loftus-Cheek could be better exploited in a team like what they did against Panama, which in Panama, I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek was absolutely insane. In the case of Belgium, obviously we saw them resting players as well, which is something that we cannot really mention about. But I gotta say that having Yuri Tielemans playing as that midfielder, creative midfielder, he was really, really good. He was insanely good. And I gotta say that I think that this guy, Roberto Martinez, should try and incorporate him more into the midfield. I'm not telling you about dropping Kevin De Bruyne, because obviously De Bruyne is like 10 times better than Yuri Tielemans, but perhaps shift it away a little bit, because sometimes we saw the back line, for instance, of Belgium in this sense not really working that much, especially when you take into consideration that both the wing backs were Januzaj and Shatley, which are not known for defensive work. So when you obviously have Munier, which is good, but you have this guy, Jenny Ferrer Carrasco, who doesn't defend a lot, I think you would be better off suited playing just with a back four and incorporating that player like Yuri Tielemans to string passes much better from the midfield. I would really encourage that to Roberto Martinez and this Belgium side, because I think they really, really need it. So I would go actually with someone like Vertonghen for the left, then Alderweireld and company for the middle, and for the right, Thomas Munier. I think Jan Vertonghen is one of those center backs which really prolific. He can really play as a left back, and he's really good going forward. He has demonstrated this time and time again. For instance, against Real Madrid in the Champions League, he was pretty good. Obviously, he had that against Real Madrid, he was pretty good, and also against Juventus. Against Juventus, although he conceded that obvious penalty to Douglas Costa. Remember that? The penalty of Vertonghen was insane. But I think that he should go and play through the left-hand side and then have somebody like I said, Yuri Tielemans in the midfield. I would think that in that sense, they will be much better suited for playing teams such as Japan, which Japan are a team which are very organized, and then a team like Brazil. Because sometimes, most of the time, like what I saw against Tunisia and what I saw against Panama, Belgium mostly relies on individual players in some cases like Hazard, Mertens, or Lukaku, and there's not really, and obviously the creativity of De Bruyne, but they don't really create the play and really don't have control of the game. And against Brazil, you need to have that, because Brazil, boom, are gonna kill you. Coutinho, Paulinho, Fernandinho, Casemiro, Willian, Neymar, Roberto Firmino, Gabriel Jesus, all those players know how to create chances. All those players are very good with the ball at his feet. And it's just going to be really tough if Belgium don't take into account that they need to control the game against a team like Brazil. Most of the times, they obviously control the game because Tunisia, Panama are going to sit back and relax. In this case, against England, it really shows that they don't have too much possession of the game, even though Yuri Tielemans was playing in that game. But obviously, we need to take into account that someone like Axel Witsel or Dembélé were not in their natural position. So overall, I gotta say that they need to shift their formation for me. I think that will be the main key. And obviously, if we take a look at elimination rounds, obviously knockout rounds, they're much more elongated. It means that we're gonna go perhaps to extra time. If we take a look at that, someone like Yannick Ferreira Carrasco out of the bench, he will be absolutely insane. His pace, his dribbling, his attacking, his passing, his finishing is going to be very, very useful in the sense that you can bring him on for Lukaku, for instance. If you need a fast player, dynamic player who can play as a striker, boom, Carrasco. You need somebody for the left, Hazard put it to the middle, boom, you can bring on Carrasco. It's that sense that I think Carrasco could be such much better utilized than just playing as a left back. So Carrasco, in that sense, for me, should be a substitute starting for that game against Japan and also against Brazil, if Belgium manages to change that formation. So that's the main thing I have questioning with Belgium right now. And that's the main thing I am really worried about that team. So we need to take account, we need to take calm, and we need to think about what Belgium are going to do. In the case of England, like I said, it's really that Ruben Loftus-Cheek problem that really takes me away. And I cannot really stress enough how important I think is that Southgate need to find the perfect midfield for that formation, because it's going to be tough relying especially on your creativity of people like Trippier and Ashley Young. Obviously, we saw, for instance, Germany all rely completely on the creation of Joshua Kimmich. And Joshua Kimmich is a right back. Like, you cannot rely on that. Toni Kroos was insane, but Ozil, like, he disappeared in some cases. I learned a post where he was actually one of the most players that created chances in one game in this World Cup. Okay, I understand that. He can be really good creating chances, but you need somebody to finish them. And Joshua Kimmich obviously puts crosses in, overlaps with Thomas Müller, and I just thought that Germany doing that was really stupid and was really unlike Germany. And in Belgium and in England shouldn't copy that. I think that the creativity has to come from the midfield, and if it doesn't come from the midfield, then you are probably screwed. I don't see a top European team except from Real Madrid where the creativity exactly comes from the midfield, like Juventus, Pjanic, Dybala, even people like Khedira know really well how to create play. In Barcelona, obviously, you got Rakitic, Busquets, which is insane. You got Coutinho. Brazil, you got Coutinho, Paulinho. Chelsea, you got... well, in Chelsea, it's kind of also a weird situation. But you know what I mean? Like, there's always the teams who work around with a creative midfielder. I just think they're a little bit better than teams like Real Madrid and Chelsea, because Real Madrid and Chelsea those types of play are not sustainable. And to the case of England against Colombia, I don't see Colombia really having mercy on England in that one, because Colombia, they want to go. Colombia, to be honest, are a team which want more. Colombia wants more. Colombia wants to go there and wants to win and wants to get to the 7 matches. So England, watch out. So I think they need to fix that. Overall, guys, now to start wrapping up this video, let's take a look at the overall group G, if this allows me to. Please. Okay, we go and take a look here at Group G, and we go on with Belgium finishes first with 9 points, obviously after beating England 1-0. And in this sense, I gotta say that Belgium has been one of the teams who have better impressed this World Cup, because he's only one of the few that has gotten the 9 points. Uruguay got the 9 points, Croatia got the 9 points, and Belgium get the 9 points. So they're one of the only teams that have managed to do that. So in good sense, Belgium, you are probably deserving of this first spot. England also did very, very good. Obviously, I had some, to be honest, some problems thinking that England were gonna do good in this World Cup, but they have proved me wrong. I thought that they were gonna have trouble against Tunisia. They had trouble against Tunisia. So overall, until now, England are doing good. Tunisia and Panama, I thought that Tunisia was gonna beat Panama, and they did. And then unfortunately, Panama are at the end. Panama had a good World Cup. I don't know. Depends on how Panama sees this. Like, Panama wants it to get the win against Tunisia, sorry. Who knows? So until now, I think that how the table ended is how those teams deserve to be. The most important here on this channel, we talk about football and we talk about what deserves to happen. And in this sense, I think that the table really shows what should have happened and what those teams deserve, to be honest. So overall, guys, hopefully you have enjoyed. Please remember to drop us a like and leave us a subscribe. Remember to turn obviously to our next video, which is going to be the predictions of the round of 16. Obviously, I'm going to do it right away after this one. So rest assured that it's going to be coming to the channel probably tomorrow, really early in the morning. So hopefully you enjoy. See you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.